What if I were to tell you that we found a way to reduce crime by 23%, to save this community over $500,000, to reduce the jail population by over 100, and to, for the first time, have a year complete where we had numbers that I have never seen in 32 years of service directly related to populations in the jail? Because that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I have with me Captain Dave Kennemer, 20-year veteran. This is a story about recidivism, a story that involves the question, how do you keep people safe? How do you reduce jail populations? How do you reduce crime? All those questions that even I asked. Well, today we have some answers. Not the only answer, but we have some answers. I knew that in 2020, when media around the world was asking, Sheriff, what's next? What's next? I had already planned on Ignite, inmate growth naturally and intentionally through education. I knew that that would be an answer to a culture change, because jails in America, they take what's called pre-adjudicated individuals that are fresh arrests. The law states you can only be sentenced in a jail up to a year, but we have less than 15 people in our jail today with 550 in there that are sentenced. The rest are just waiting trial. And that's jails all over the state and the nation. So when you have individuals here, what do we do with their time? When only 10% of those in jails go to prison, what do you do with the other 90% that go back to your neighborhoods and mine? And the answer is Ignite. And when we launched September 8, 2020, and the media here, and I'm so thankful, everyone in this community can be thankful that every news station and written media from MLive to Flint Beat are here covering the story. I can't thank you enough, because your platforms tell a story. But when we launched Ignite and we created a culture change, we saw some immediate responses, but I knew it would take years to see the long-term response, the long-term effects of taking people out of a mindset that it has historically been reoccurring and re-addiction and recidivism. And if you can break that through, number one, giving somebody an opportunity by changing their own mindset through education, using Chromebooks and tablets and virtual reality. If you can do that and then give them an opportunity to leave to go get employment and change their mindset so they can support their family, it changes crime. It changes what people do. It affects the impact of their decisions. And so we have some data here. Now, mind you, we are going on 5 years this year launching Ignite. And one of the barometers I use is jail stats. So we track all of our hours, how many hours we did. We're well over 250,000 hours. Obviously, it's been picked up with sheriffs across the country, but there is a stat that I've been waiting and watching, and it is jail overcrowding. Now, the Michigan Department of Corrections, they mandate different policies that every jail in America, and certainly in Michigan, those DOCs that jails have to run, and we are rated for 580 beds. And so when we are above 580, Public Act 325, it is by law an algorithm that we have to report, and we have to go into a process where that we break that count, otherwise the circuit court gets involved. Then they start adjusting bonds, then they start doing early releases. And so when we have jail overcrowding, the whole system is adapted to trying to reduce that jail overcrowding, not because people aren't breaking the law. It's we got to get really bad people here and not so bad people out. You start picking and choosing. When I saw in 2021 that we were well over 100 days overcrowding, 2022, over 200 days, look what happened as Ignite kicked in. 2021, 186 days. These are days where we were over the 580 count. 2022, 278 days of jail overcrowding. 2023, 92. Can I tell you that we just completed a calendar year without a single day of jail overcrowding? In fact, we're 100 less in the jail today than we were 2 years ago. And when you look at a study like Harvard had, and you see what they did to study the impact of Ignite, on page 2, can I tell you, it says right here that Ignite and exposure to it reduces the social cost of crime over a year. Corresponding with that reduction is $5,600 per person per month. 100 less times 5,600 is a $560,000 savings to this community, because we're not housing them in the jail. We're not putting them back in the system. And when people make decisions not to break the law, it's not because we have less cops on the street. It's not because the law enforcement in Genesee County aren't doing their job. It's because we have less people breaking the law. USA Today reported back last summer, the FBI stats 2023, that just in the city of Flint, crime is down 17%, murder's down 40%. Still much to do, but you now have a program, and it's now caught the attention of not only Harvard, Brown, and Michigan, that just last month I was notified it was going to be, this report is going to be published in the Quarterly Journal of Economics, one of the most renowned journals of economics in the world. That's why I'm going to Oxford University in April to speak for the World Literacy Foundation, because in their report it says if it works here in Genesee County, in Flint, of all places it can work anywhere, not just incarcerated. So I brought Captain Kenham with me because he's the jail administrator. We need people to see that this is something that is not just a once and done. This is a culture change for somebody who grew up in the system, who now works in the jail, has been a police officer for decades. When we talk culture change and you see it live, how does Ignite impact that culture?
I cut my teeth on overcrowding. That's all I knew for decades of my career, was constantly overcrowded. And 100 less inmates a year, 100 less inmates a day, the amount of effect it has on our staff, on our population, that's 100 less more people having Thanksgiving with their family, having Christmas with their family, celebrating the New Year. That's 100 less people that have to spend that time in our jail. And what does Ignite do? It brings hope to people that don't have the hopeless, that are hopeless.
And you know, that drain and that draw on the system, when you have a floor that's maxed out at 120 versus 90, 95, it reduces the stress level of those hardworking deputies, sergeants, lieutenants, and captains that are working in that jail 24/7. You gotta understand, during COVID, during water crisis, during weather crisis, this jail does not shut down. It's 24/7, always, always housed. And when you have these individuals and their families, it's all the things we're doing. The Christmas Spectacular, that, you know, No Child Left Behind, all those moments that we go into the community. We have been able to build something very special in this county. And I show you these stats because I want you to see. There's another stat that I want to show you when it comes to overcrowding, and that is how many days we were overcrowded in one straight session. So check this out, 2021. There was a point that we were overcrowded for 33 days straight. 2022, we had a time period where we were overcrowded for 52 days straight. Do you know at that point the law requires us to remove people that have done a majority of their sentence, or goes to the circuit court and the chief judge has to lower bonds? In 2023, we were overcrowded. Next slide. A period of 23 days straight. 2024 again, not a single stretch, because we didn't have a day of overcrowding. Those are the numbers that when people want to know, does this really work? Is all the things the sheriff's office doing making a difference? The answer is yes. And it includes you telling a story. It includes us being transparent. It includes the inmates actually participating. It includes the Ignite deputies. It includes all of the graduations, every participant, the UAW, the Red Wings. It includes Jelly Roll, it includes Shaggy, it includes all those that come in here and pour into our people, Mott Morris Schools, Mott Community College, U of M, and the list goes on and on. These are individuals that I can tell you are making a difference. Still to this day, I've not written a single letter to a judge advocating for an inmate who's in Ignite. I have not gone to one court hearing and spoke of how successful someone is in Ignite. To this day, we have not paid a dime for any instructor to come in and teach at Ignite. If you want to be a part of a culture change, then I want this to be shown. And we show that. So I'm going to open up to questions. I wanted you to see it. We're going to have a link to the entire Harvard report included into our site that's already there, as well as we're going to make sure our media friends has the whole report. Also, every slide that we show you, so you can look at it and you can develop whatever story that you want, that you think would relate to your individual readers or viewers. Any questions? Yes. Channel 5.
Has Ignite changed the number of people who reoffend, so people who go through the program? I know you said that there's less coming to the jail, but those who go through the program, are they not committing crimes then when they are out?
Gap?
I'll tell you, there's times I walk through the lobby and I run into an Ignite graduate that just wanted to come back and share the fact that he's out there and he's found a job and he's making the right choices. And he comes back and says, jail changed my life. And that's what true corrections is supposed to be. We're supposed to be changing lives, and that happened through Ignite and through this program.
We had our last graduation, an individual who was released on Friday, came back on Tuesday to be recognized in civilian clothes for his accomplishment. We've had fathers and daughters graduate together, and the father come back after he was released to watch his daughter graduate yet again. The stories are endless. I was just given a letter that was written by a lifer out of Lakeland Correctional Institution in Coldwater, Michigan. They want me to come down to speak as a keynote because in 2021, they were the first organization, the inmates, to fund Ignite. They wrote a $2,000 check from their inmate account. They took money from their commissary, and we went down there to receive that money and put it in. That was the first donation. So 4.5 years later, you got people that started here that were sentenced down to Lakeland, and now we're gonna go there and see it full circle. So the answer to your question is absolutely. Thank you. I'm live.
How did the not one day overcrowded in 2024, that's gotta be a big achievement for you guys, obviously, and one that you're touting today, but how does that compare to other jails throughout the state? I mean, is this something that jails typically deal with, at certain points throughout the years? I guess, how significant is that to not have, one day overcrowded?
So the question is, how does it impact other jails? Every county is different. There's 18 big cities in Michigan, and there's big counties: Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, Genesee, Kent, Washtenaw. Some of them have jails that were built in the 80s. Some of them, like Wingham County, has a jail that's not even a year old. What I've noticed is the sheriffs that I deal with have changed their mindset in not just incarceration, but incarceration with education. Genesee is very unique in a lot of ways. We've always struggled, like Captain Kennemer said, my whole career, it's always, you've done stories about jail overcrowding that nobody can come to jail unless it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is unprecedented for you to see. But I can tell you other jails have picked up on it, and as they build new facilities, they don't want to build more beds. They want to build facilities that house those that need to be there, but also give them a pathway so they never come back. That's the key. I think it makes a significant impact. But there are few jails that struggle with overcrowding in Michigan like Genesee County has because of our facility, a 580-bed facility in a 433,000 population community. It's always been a struggle. We were overcrowded the first day we moved into this building in the late 80s. That's right.
Captain, you sort of alluded to the fact that this has helped your staff. Can you kind of touch on that and tell us what it's been doing culturally to change the atmosphere inside of the jail cell?
It's hard to be in an incident in the jail when you're in a book. It's hard to cause a problem in the jail when you're learning how to eat healthy. It's hard to have a problem in the jail when you're learning how to write and read and do these kind of things. So it takes all that away. Plus, now my staff is supervising 100 less people a day. That's 100 less opportunities for an incident to happen. It's a culture change throughout. It's a culture change internally, and it's hard to put into words the effect that it has overall.
My final thoughts is this relates to all of us. And as I said from the beginning of September 8, 2020, it may not be a big deal until it's your kid. And that we look at a culture change that takes time, we have the results. Not only is it reducing crime, reducing jail violence, reducing the amount of litigation that comes through the facility, but the economic benefit of saving over $500,000 just by not taking care of them, and the job placement that we have with RISE and our other employers, it's a great day for Genesee County. It's an honor and a privilege to stand here at the sheriff and see staff members now that are not only just sold and bought in, but we have a third of our staff in the jail who know nothing but Ignite. It is a true culture change, and there's no going back. So thank you again for everybody. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you to the media, and we'll see you next time. Be safe.
Ours is up.
I saw a thumbs up with the Harvard report, right?
Yes, already attached.
Man, they're so good. You got, just read the first like 15 pages.